Hello everybody and welcome to Mondoid, your one-stop shop for all things Project Zomboid. And this week, get your ew bums out. Oh, get your bums out of my face. That's disgusting. You're all rancid people, barbaric and disgusting. Be gone. Go eat your barbecue and Anyway, welcome to Mondoid. Let's dive right in. So, ew bums stands for I will back up my save. It was a branch that was on Steam that was messed around with. It's typically the unstable branch where they're testing things and people can go and close test it if they so choose, as long as they understand that it's broken. And that's kind of what this blog is about. It's more of an update blog than anything, which is fine. This means we'll have a shorter vlog than usual. So first and foremost, build 26 is kind of here. You can go download it right now if you so choose. You can read the change list. A lot of it has to do with the cooking and all kinds of good stuff. So I would highly suggest you come to the blog and click on this and see what's changed for build 26. As usual, they remind you, back up your saves in case the game breaks or becomes unstable or something goes burning down in flames. It is highly suggested, as always, when you go into these branches of private testing, that you are going to back up your save. Otherwise, you're risking losing everything. Unless you're okay with losing everything, then hey, go buck wild. Who am I to judge? But that's important because build 26 is hopefully going to get pushed out officially within a week or two. They just say they hope to push it out official if at all possible. They don't give a time frame, which is smart. It's just when it's ready, it'll be ready. Where did the branch go? Well, apparently they actually retired the old I will back up my save version to save people from having server incompatibility issues with multiplayer, so on and so forth. The problem they had is they totally forgot to put a password on it, so some people discovered it, like accidentally, messing around on Steam, and didn't read the unstable tag on it, or unstable description on it, and ended up downloading it without the password, and in doing so broke their game, had broken games, and of course ignorant people do what they do best, and they started complaining. Yes, partially Indie Stone's fault for not putting a password on it, partially the consumer's fault for not reading correctly. Either way, they had some problems, so they ended up putting a password on it. If you want it and if you want to get back into the branch, they have a link here to go get the password and everything you need to know. So make sure you go check that out if you're interested in doing that. So, what the bulk of the blog is actually what people are up to. So we'll go through the list and I'll talk a little bit about it and my excitement for it, what I think is going to be good, what I think is going to be bad, if anything, and move on. So NPCs are being worked on. Chris is heavily working on them. All they say is we'll get them to you as soon as we can, but it'll take as long as it takes, which is fine by me. As long as it's good, or at least I don't need the NPCs to be perfect when we see them, but I want them to be functioning, or at least see the functionality behind them that you guys have been promising, obviously, for a long time before you actually show it off, which I know is exactly what the Indie Stone is trying to do. The profession overhaul. These have remained static for so long, it's about time we started filling out the character creation with more professions. That's awesome. That should make things really exciting for character creation, to have a bunch more professions outside of the standard 6 to 8 or so that they have now. And I think some rebalancing is due, as the carpenter, in my opinion, is still incredibly overpowered and obviously the one you would want to choose at this particular point. More importantly, trapping is incredibly close. It is probably not long before we'll have it in our hands, and that'll give us people who want to maybe go live in the woods and try living in the woods an actual option of catching food. So that's awesome. The same thing with hunting. Hunting is probably a little bit further away, but Chris has done something with LLUA driven library for use by the NPCs that will hopefully make this one a quick to implement. So once we're at that point where we can get working on hunting, it sounds like it won't be very long before you can get it in and actually start doing stuff with it. So that's exciting as hell. Vehicles, basically they said they've done some testing to see if it'll work. Essentially, yes, vehicles will work. It'll be in when it's in. They're going to work on it during their break time. You know, the developers like to take vacations or breaks away from what they're doing to kind of refresh their minds and stuff. And when they take breaks, they actually work on other parts of the game. This looks like vehicles will be what they work on during their breaks. The UI is also getting an overhaul and a revamp still, which is cool with me. The UI is functional but not practical, or at least there are practical aspects to it, but it's not exactly amazing. It sounds like they're still getting a lot of criticisms for it, which is I completely understand, and it looks like they're going to get a complete revamp with the UI, or at least revamp it to the point where it's a little bit nicer to look at, maybe some new inventory stuff, so that's exciting. Combat, which we talked about last week, with 3D models being implemented, we're going to see a lot more cooler animations. More specifically with 3D models, it allows for targeted damage, meaning you're going to be able to hit them in certain parts of the body, do damage to certain parts of their body, maybe some ragdoll, some better hit reactions, physics-based combat, all that good stuff is something they've been thinking about and looking into, which is awesome. I'm totally on board with that. All day, every day. Bring it on. Sneaking, we've also talked about, so they're planning on sneaking mechanics, basically pressing yourself up against walls, peeking around corners, being actually sneaking as opposed to just holding down right click or a control button and moving slowly. We're actually going to have some sneaking mechanics, which will drastically change the way we play the game. Honestly, it'll change everything about it, because now you're going to actually have stealth involved. Not only will it change the way you play single player, but it's going to change the way you play multiplayer. Probably more multiplayer than anything. You'll be able to look around walls and see people moving before they see you, so that'll be awesome. And finally, map expansion. We obviously they've had the next map expansion in the works for quite some time. It looks like it's almost done. We'll be seeing that put into the game hopefully very shortly, and we'll be able to explore that wonderful large building they keep hinting at. Other than that, there's not much here, so we're going to wrap up this blog. All of this is stuff that we've kind of known, so I really don't have a lot of insight to talk about and pick apart. I've really kind of torn apart NPCs before, talking about it. Not torn apart in a bad way, but torn it apart and examined what implementation of NPCs are going to be. Same thing with combat and sneaking. I've done that all in the past. I'm more excited to when we see something, because once we see something, I'll actually be able to start criticizing it and looking at it a little bit more in depth. So this is just more of an update Mondoid than anything else, which is totally cool. I'm all good with that. So thank you guys so much for joining. If you're one of those once-a-weekers, I will see you next week. If you're a regular, I will see you later today. And as always, I'll see all of you next time. Bye-bye.